Well, good morning, Horizon. It is my blessing to be able to share our devotion today coming from Luke chapter 19, verses 45 through 48. And it's in this passage that we see Jesus clearing out the temple. Now, for many of us, as we first read this, we might have been confused that Jesus is angry. Does that mean that we're allowed to be angry? Or maybe if you read this passage and if you have a passion in life, maybe you've given yourself permission to do whatever it takes. Maybe even use violence if your cause is noble. But I'm not exactly sure if that's what this passage truly gives us permission to do. While yes, we're allowed to feel the full range of emotions, including anger, is there something deeper going on here that Jesus is trying to address? I want to read our passage right now and then maybe share a little bit. It says, "When Jesus entered the temple courts, he began to drive out those who were selling. 'It is written,' he said to them, 'My house will be a house of prayer, but you have made it a den of robbers.' Every day he was teaching in the temple, but the chief priests, the teacher of the law, and the leaders among the people were trying to kill him. Yet they could not find any way to do it, because all the people hung on his words." The word of the Lord. As Jesus entered into the outer courts of the temple, he saw money being exchanged from the Roman denarius to the Tyrian shekel, and it was the Tyrian shekel that was what paid your annual temple tax, and that was an essential part of church business. It had to happen. Likewise, people had set out animals to be purchased so that as your family was traveling miles and miles and miles, you didn't have to run the risk of your animal being hurt on the journey and not being able to worship. And so there was an essential business that allowed for the buying of these animals to worship God. These were essential things. They were built out of an essential need within the church. So why is it that Jesus seems to be so angry about this and drives them out of his temple? You know, I think about the essential tasks that have to happen in my day. All of the normal things that must happen. I have to sleep. I have to eat. I have to drink. I have to clean the house. I have to work. I have meetings. I have to vote. And one day I'll even shave my beard. One day, not anytime soon. Now, all of these things are very essential in my life, and they have to happen. So I can't imagine that Jesus would come into my home and be angry with me for cleaning my house, or for playing board games, or for barbecuing dinner. I mean, even Jesus made breakfast for his disciples. But I wonder, as Jesus peered into the lives of those at the temple, and if Jesus peers into our lives, has he seen that an essential thing has become the main things? As we look into this story, we see that the money changers were using an unfair exchange rate to steal from people. And it showed that they weren't interested in creating a place of worship for the Israelites, but that they were interested in money. Likewise, when the animals were being sold, were they being sold at an inflated rate so that it would not allow for the Israelites to come together and to worship as a family? I mean, imagine this scene with me. A whole family brings what little money they have to afford the temple tax and to pay for the temple animal. But after traveling all the way to Jerusalem, they are turned away. Jesus sees the heart of this broken family that cannot worship because an essential thing has become the main thing and has distorted the whole purpose. Jesus cannot stand to see how, again, people have made main things out of essential things. And he even uses the words of Jeremiah that says that the temple has been turned into a den of thieves. And Jeremiah, in Jeremiah chapter 7, was warning people, saying, don't assume that you're safe just because you're doing church things. Don't assume that you're safe just because you are in the temple, but actually change the way that you're living. Actually treat others fairly. Treat the foreigner fairly. Care for the widow, adopt children, and even stop paying allegiance to other gods. Now, as Americans, we really don't have little idols around our house. But I wonder what essential things, what good things in our lives have we allowed to become the main thing? Now, In this passage, we see Jesus clear the temple, not because he wants to bar people and say, you're not good enough, you're not allowed, or your sin was too much to be here, but because he wants to establish what does it actually mean to live in that kingdom? What does it mean to be a people of prayer that actually embody that prayer that he taught his disciples? Your kingdom come, your will be done. As I've meditated on this passage, I've been encouraged to think about the essential things in my life that I've elevated over the main thing. And I give permission to Jesus to whip those things out of my life so that I can truly be a person of prayer and of worship to God. And I pray that as you examine this passage and as you examine your life, that you would give permission to God to drive out all of the good things in your life that have taken the place of the main thing, which is being his child. Grace and peace.